But if your excellency doubt my veracity, Signor Pastrini, returned Franz, you are more susceptible than Cassandra, who was a prophetess, and yet no one believed her, while you, at least, are sure of the credence of half your audience. Come, sit down, and tell us all about this Signor Vampa. I had told your excellency he is the most famous bandit we have had since the days of Mastrilia. Well, what has this bandit to do with the order I have given the coachman to leave the city by the Porta del Popolo, and to re-enter by the Porta San Giovanni? This, replied Signor Pastrini, that you will go out by one, but I very much doubt your returning by the other. Why? Asked Franz. Because, after nightfall, you are not safe 50 yards from the gates. On your honor, is that true? Cried Albert. Count, returned Signor Pastrini, hurt at Albert's repeated doubts of the truth of his assertions. I do not say this to you, but to your companion, who knows Rome, and knows, too, that these things are not to be laughed at. My dear fellow, said Albert, turning to Franz, here is an admirable adventure. We will fill our carriage with pistols, blunderbusses, and double-barreled guns. Luigi Vampa comes to take us, and we take him. We bring him back to Rome, and present him to His Holiness the Pope, who asks how he can repay so great a service. Then we merely ask for a carriage and a pair of horses, and we see the carnival in the carriage, and doubtless the Roman people will crown us at the Capitol, and proclaim us, like Curtius and Horatius Cocles, the preservers of their country. You, listener, right now, with your fingers on the keyboard, typing up that email or Discord comment to me to say, boy, Landon, your Albert sounds a lot like your drunken Catarous from those early chapters. I know. I recognized that halfway through recording and tried to pull it back from the brink a little bit. What can I say? I'm a failed actor. I am in a closet in Madison, Wisconsin, having spent 15 years in Los Angeles, not making it as an actor. Here I am. I don't have any range to provide you. It's blustery drunk, or it's muttering subservience. I don't know what... those are the two ranges I can go to. But what's going on here, we're not getting any new details about Vampa necessarily, but Pastrini does say what... Well, he doesn't even say what the threat is, really, does he? He just says that you'll be able to leave, but you're not going to be able to come back. I doubt very much that you will return by the Porta San Giovanni. Why? Because after nightfall, you're not safe 50 yards from the gates. Well, what does that mean? Is that life or death? Is that their pocketbooks? If he's a bandit, does that mean he's a murderer? I don't know much about this Signor Vampa. And if he's Dante, it seems like a weird myth to be weaving about yourself, that you are a scary thief and potential murderer. But again, I don't know that that's Dante. I'm itching for more Dante content, folks. I'm looking in places where it probably even isn't. So, sorry about that. We'll earmark that and come back when we have more evidence. But Albert just continuing to be such a dick, flagrantly taking Pastrini's warnings to the threat to their life and saying, "Oh yeah, right, of course. This actually sounds like a great adventure, not a threat to my life. We'll pack our carriage up with a bunch of guns, and we will capture him, and we will bring him to Rome, and the Pope is going to love us and crown us, and we will be labeled the preservers of their country. We are saviors to this land." I haven't mentioned it yet, but I guess worth just a small mention that Porta del Popolo and Porta San Giovanni are real, obviously. We know that about Dumas at this point, and McKay. They love to put real-world stuff into their stories. These are two gates or ports that lead in and out of Rome. So it makes sense that they're using this in this context. Lots of references to historical and mythological people in this. There's obviously Cassandra, who, part of Greek mythology. Not to plug my other podcast, Odyssey, where we're reading a page of the Odyssey every day. She plays more into the story of Troy and the Iliad because she had a prophecy of the downfall of Troy and the death of Agamemnon. We're covering all of that extensively over at Odyssey. But that Apollo had cursed her to never be believed, even if she is speaking the truth. And so that's the clear reference that's being made earlier in this passage. Franz is telling Pastrini, you are more susceptible than Cassandra, who is a prophetess, and yet no one believed her, while you at least have 50% of your audience. One of the two of us will believe you, so tell us about it. He's trying to comfort Pastrini to have him sit down and tell his story. I don't know if this is out of a genuine interest on Franz's part, or if he also finds this to be a humorous pastime, but is more ready to indulge Pastrini than Albert is. Then we've got mentions of, I believe, okay, now, oh boy. See, I'm gun shy now. That whole Appert Blue Cloak episode I did, it's got me a little nervous about reporting on things, so I will give this a big caveat in saying that this is almost certainly, but not definitely, because I'm not an expert, Marcus Curtius. I'm doing the blatantly American pronunciation of that, from Roman legend, which would make sense because they're in Rome. And he was, just as I looked into his story for a little second. I'd love to learn more about this, read something a little bit more extensive, but essentially a chasm had opened up in the Roman Forum, and the priests of Rome said that it would only close if Rome sacrificed what it valued most. And Curtius essentially said that Rome's greatest strength was the courage and arms of its youth. Then he mounted his horse and leapt fully armed into the abyss, which then closed. God, I love mythology. I haven't gotten into Roman mythology too much, just the Greek mythology stuff. But interesting and eye-rolly that Albert is jokingly casting himself as a grand self-sacrificing savior of Rome in this hypothetical he's saying when he captures Vampa and delivers him to the Pope. He also mentions Horatius Cocles, another Roman hero. So even jokingly, Albert has this sort of pompousness and self-grandiosity that, again, I wouldn't want to hang out with him at a party or sit next to him on a bus or get trapped next to him on an airplane. Any number of scenarios in which you are forced to be in proximity to, interact with, listen to. I don't think I want to hang out with him, but that's just me. Okay, let's continue tomorrow. Hopefully we get more info on Vampa. I'm surprised it's taking this long, but also we have an absurd premise here where we're only reading a page a day. So join me here tomorrow. Hopefully we'll learn more about this Luigi Vampa, and Albert will shut his mouth for a little bit. Join me here then. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.